Previously on what is probability? Okay, so what you've missed. First of all, squirrel. Hello, squirrel.
Yep.
Squirrel has been missed. Squirrel is disappearing into my virtual background. So we have Teddy and Austin here. They're going to help me out. So we've got biased and unbiased ways of finding a sample. And Squirrel has just decided to click ahead.
Cool.
Simple random sample is that we take a population, so a group of people, we give everybody a number, and then we randomly select numbers. And those people become part of our sample. And then we figure out what's going to happen with those people. We talk to those people, and we can learn things about the population based on those people. We good?
Yeah, I think I'm following along.
Awesome.
I'm not in your class anymore. You don't got to teach me. You got to teach the people that are in your class.
This is
I'm
true.
not, like,
You passed this class.
barely.
Barely. All right. Squirrel did not pass this class. Squirrel, get back here. All right. So once we have the sample, what do we do with that sample? Well, we either do an experiment or we do an observational study. So in an experiment, we've got the sample. We break them up into the treatment and the control group. And we choose who goes into treatment, who goes into control. And that's for things like medications, because I can take a sample of people and say, okay, you take the blue pill, you guys take the red pill, and then we'll see who dies. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. Observational study is when they come with it, because I can't tell people, okay, you smoke, you don't smoke, we'll see who dies first. They either come smoking or non-smoking. I can't force them to smoke. Yes, I could force mice to smoke, and that is what they did. They actually took mice and they smoked them. I know you would love smoked mice. I think that would be a very good meal for a squirrel. Smoked mice. This is my kitty cat squirrel. She's adorable. And she desperately wants to help me teach math. Okay, so today's episode. What is probability? Episode 7. Univariate statistics. Ooh.
That's a lot of words.
I know. Illustrated and narrated by Izzo, but also by Theodore Roosevelt and Austin. Okay, so we have this population, yes?
Yep.
Okay. And what we do is we take this population, and in statistics, what we do, squirrel, that is not an appropriate place. I will eat your tail if you keep putting it in your mouth. I will eat it. I will gobble it up. Okay. Sorry, back to you. So population is just a group of people or objects that interest us. So it could be all of America. It could be the entire world. It could be only New York. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But still, those are really big populations, yeah? So I don't want to talk to everyone in the population. But there are certain things I want to know about the population. So parameters are pieces of information or a summary on the population. So this could be like the average age of people in my population, or how well people know math in the population, that kind of stuff. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
But because the population is too big, we pull out a sample. And that sample is just a smaller but representative squirrel. I told you. I will eat your tail. Ready? I eat your tail. Yes, I ate your tail. I gave you a warning. I told you if you put your tail in my mouth, I eat it. All right, back to you. A smaller but representative chunk of the population. And then we do statistics, which is just a piece of information or summary of the sample. So I can't take all of America and figure out the average age. So I take a sample of people from America, find out the average age of the sample, and that will hopefully help me figure out what's happening with the population.
But couldn't that technically be skewed?
It be skewed. That is a great plan. And we talked very much about how to create a sample so that it was unbiased, because a lot of times it is very biased, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could just randomly get people on the street, well, then you've missed everyone who can't go out of their house.
Yeah, like, with the political polls they do, especially, where they're like, do you approve of President Trump? They'll choose it from, like, they'll send it to a bunch of people that live in, like, friggin' a trailer park in Alabama.
Right?
And then...
Yeah. Exactly. That is what they would do. What squirrel? Yes. They would, like, stand outside a church on Sunday morning and then figure out how many people are religious.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're gonna get a lot of people who are religious. That's just obvious. That's just dumb. So we did 2 episodes on how to actually take a sample from a population, because it's very, very complicated. It's not as easy as you would think. Okay, so let's take a population. Let's take America. And I want parameters like the average income, average number of kids, average debt, average age, average education level, average people who are sick. Like, all of these things I want to know about America, right? Which would be extremely helpful if you're, like, running America.
Yep.
No, Squirrel, you're not allowed to run America.
he'd be just disqualified.
Hey now, that's our president. Besides, Squirrel is not 35. You have to be 35 or older to run for president.
He is in cat ears, right?
What now? Oh, in cat years. That's true. Yes, you would make the age. I don't know. Hashtag
Squirrel
vote
2020.
for Squirrel. Hashtag vote for Squirrel. Okay. Squirrel 2020? Is that what we're going for?
Yep.
Yeah, you stuck your tail in my mouth again. You seem surprised every time it happens.
I think she wants attention.
I think you do. I think you want lots of attention. I thought you were going to help us. Yeah, help us with statistics. Can you help us with statistics? Okay, then you need to be quiet. Okay, so the way that America tries to get this information is by doing the United States Census. So have you guys heard of the census?
Yes.
Have you filled out your census?
My parents have.
Okay. The census is actually a very important part, but it is actually a sample because not everybody is included in the census. Like, who would not be included in the U.S. Census?
People who don't fill it out.
People who don't fill it out. Lazy people. Always the lazy people. Yes, like...
Hey, my family isn't lazy. We just don't like the government having anything.
Yes, people anti-government are not in the census. So anyone who's worried about the whole Big Brother, they don't want the government to know who they are and what they are, they will not be included in the census. Anyone else?
People who are not legal citizens.
Yes, illegal citizens. Illegal citizens are not going to be in the sample. Anyone who is in this country illegally. So even though they are possibly a drain on resources, and even though they live in this country, they are not going to be part of the U.S. Census. And Squirrel. Squirrel is not going to be part of the census. I did not write you down. You are not considered a dependent. Good grief. Okay. And then we do statistics on the United States Census, and hopefully that will give us average parameters, okay? So that's what America does. America is a population. It takes the United States Census, which is a sample, and then it does statistics on the census to try and figure out, like, the average number of kids and the average debt and all of that good stuff. Yes? And if the government uses this data, they use this data for taxes, community planning, figuring out market locations, and businesses will use it. Squirrel, you're not a business. No, you're not. To inform rescuers during a natural disaster, like, okay, this is how many people are supposed to be in this region. We need to have a refugee center for those people. Allocation of federal funds, social service programs, transportation systems, infrastructure like roads, bridges, all that good stuff, and most importantly, seats in Congress.
Yep.
Yeah. The U.S. House of Representatives is actually based on the population in each state. So if it says that there are only 2 people in Florida, because only 2 people in Florida bothered to turn in the U.S. Census, that means they don't get any representatives in Congress.
Well, that assumes people in Florida know how to write.
Well, this is true. It also assumes we want representation from Floridians, which, do we? Do we really want them in our government?
Have you ever seen like
Or would you like
those
them?
headlines where it's like Florida man shoots armadillo and bullet ricochets back and kills him and
What?
no,
That's
legit,
a headline.
I wasn't making that up. Like
That's actually a legitimate news
This video
article.
just became very anti-Florida. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Remember, we are posting this to YouTube. Yes, the Floridians might see this. But to be fair, there are Floridians. All right, moving on.
Oh, okay.
So, we got a population, and let's talk about human adult females. Yes?
mhm.
We're talking human adult females in the entire world. Yes?
Yep.
And I want to know their average height. Okay?
Okay.
So I take a sample of human adult females. No, squirrel. You are a female, but you are not a human adult female. I know. It's a very tricky issue there. Okay, and I do statistics on my sample, and I find that the average human adult female is 4 feet and 10 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, squirrel, that does seem weird. Does that seem weird to you guys?
Yeah, that's very short.
4
Yeah.
feet seems more hobbit-sized than adult human-sized. No, not squirrel-sized, hobbit-sized. No, you're not a hobbit, you're a squirrel. You think about that. Okay. What are you doing? Oh, okay. Okay. There you go. Just take a nap. Okay. So this is clearly a problem, yes?
It's a problem that they're 4'10".
What's the problem
Well,
with
the
that?
problem is we're trying to estimate the adult human females, and we've got statistics that are clearly inaccurate. So this goes
Okay.
back to what you guys were saying about how you have to be very careful about how this sample was taken.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes when you get statistics that are clearly fishy, yes, squirrel, you are very fishy. You always smell fishy because you eat mostly fish. Okay. When you get statistics that are fishy, you have to think about that, yes? And figure out, like, okay, let's take a better look at this sample and figure out, is it the sample that's the problem? Is it that I made a math error somewhere? That kind of stuff, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this was a real life study. This was a real life sample. And this was their real life statistics. But if you look at the sample, you will find out that it is not actually for all human adult females. It was only people from Indonesia.
Oh. Okay.
So Indonesia, it was from 1997, so slightly dated there. That was pretty dated.
Yeah.
Age 50 plus.
Oh.
So Indonesian grandmothers. It was Indonesian grandmothers that are 4'10", which makes more sense than all human adult females, yes?
Yeah.
And it was self-reported. So they told us. That would be like asking Squirrel, how tall are you? Yeah, that's her answer. Do you
Nothing.
trust that answer? I wouldn't trust that answer. It came from Squirrel. Yes, you are untrustworthy when it comes to measuring. I don't think you know how to use a ruler. Okay, now for something I completely made up. Yes, I made this up, Squirrel. So, families with kids in Pennsylvania. So, parameters, I want to know the average number of kids. So, what happens is we take a sample because Pennsylvania is a pretty big state, I hear. Anyone been to Pennsylvania recently?
Nope.
No.
No? Is it still big? I think it's still big.
I think so too.
The last time I had to go straight from north to south through Pennsylvania. It was a long state. Yeah, I nearly fell asleep. Squirrel cried the entire way.
It's like 5 hours.
It is. It's a big state. All right, so we take a sample of families with kids in Pennsylvania because we want to find the average number of kids. And we do our statistics. So here I've got a whole bunch of people from... Nope. Gotta move you over. There you go. So we go from these numbers and we do the minimum quartile, median, quartile, maximum. You remember any of that?
I do.
You do?
Yep.
That's exciting.
I just did this.
This was something in a calculator.
Yes, it was
Yes.
something in a calculator. Good
Mhm.
job, Austin.
Like, this was something that you fully put into a calculator, and I still screwed up on it.
The calculator, right? You see
Yep.
the calculator?
Mhm.
Okay. And then we do on, new document, and we want lists and spreadsheets, yes?
Yep.
Okay. And then we need to start plugging in these numbers. So what numbers do we have?
4,
Didn't you have to,
10,
like, redo the top
6.
thing?
8, 10, 10, 4,
Hold
2,
up.
6, 4, 3, 5, 4, 9, 3, 5, 6, 10, 1, and 6.
Beautiful. Gorgeous. Okay. So in the spreadsheet, now we've got all the numbers, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, fair
have-
disclaimer, I will probably be wrong about this. Didn't you have to rename the top of it to be a lowercase a?
Yes, you have to go up to here and actually tell it that you want this to be A. Yes, you have to do that. It's trying to get you ready for like Excel,
Yeah.
because in Excel, your columns need to be like name of person and how much money they make. Or it has to be date and how many zombies there are. Like that kind of stuff in Excel. So you always have titles in Excel.
I'm not trying to tell all the algebra kids here that you should do this, but you technically don't need to do that in this.
In this,
You don't need to name it in the calculator.
you don't.
They're already named. A, B, C,
They already have names. But you have to be careful with the names.
Yes.
No,
Alright.
I think the
do?
reason that it didn't calculate correctly that one time was because I literally didn't name it.
I don't name mine, and I still got them.
Ooh, look at that.
Yep.
Patty's doing fancy. Okay, so then we go to menu and statistics because we're in statistics. Statistics calculations. And today we did univariate statistics. Uni, like a unicorn, has one horn, one variable. Number of lists, just the one. And then you have to tell me what list it is.
Yep.
So in this case, I can just do a lowercase a because I renamed the list A. There is a special way to do it, as Teddy said, without renaming the list, but I'm too lazy to teach that. Just easier this way. Okay, press OK, and now we get to see if Teddy did it right. And look at that, 5.8 is the average. Look at that, X bar is actually the average. That's the name for the average. Yes, I know, X bar doesn't seem like it would be an average, but it's definitely the average. Squirrel is puzzled. Why is it called X bar?
Don't ask me that. I don't even know.
because X is
It has a bar over it. That's why. There
Yeah.
you go.
has a bar over it. X is our random variable, and bar is the center. So the center is the average. X bar is 8.5, 5.8. One of those. And then
Forget
N,
the other numbers.
N is the
besides-
number of numbers. Minimum, quartile, median, maximum, quartiles, all that good stuff. Everything's in there. So really, all you need to do was type it into the calculator and say calculator, calculate. And there it is. Yep. It's the best part. I love it. Also, fun fact, we could add a page. So to add a page, you do Control Doc. And we could do data and statistics.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So if you add a page and do data and statistics, this is a visual representation of the data and statistics. So I'm going to put A down there. And look at that. Any idea what that's called? Do we remember?
That's called allocate funding to sexual education in schools.
That is not what that means. Not what that means at all.
That's how many kids there are, right?
Okay.
The dot plot, yes.
That is
The dot
a
plot.
dot plot. Yeah.
Dude, anyone who has
That is
10
the dot
kids,
Yes.
like,
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about that family that has 10 cats. To be fair,
Oh.
it's Pennsylvania. There are a lot of Amish people there.
How do you know that?
What? There's definitely Amish people in Pennsylvania. Called
I mean, there's-
Amish
I mean,
people.
yes, there
There's
is
Amish
definitely
people
at
everywhere.
least one Amish family in Pennsylvania.
You're not going to argue with that?
I will agree with that. There is probably at least one.
Okay,
but they don't have the technology to reply to the census.
this is true. So, yeah,
by
we
the way-
really need to talk about how kids are made because clearly the Pennsylvanians do not understand how.
Algebra kids,
Hardcore
if
Catholic.
Izzo asks you to do this, you might want to name the
The kids.
the statistic. Like, you might want to name the column that you put the data in.
Yes, yes.
She asked you to do that.
I did make you do that. Okay, menu, and then plot type. If you do menu plot type, guess what? You can get a box and whisker plot. So it'll
What
do
does
box
that
and
mean?
whisker plots for you. It will do histograms
I like
for
histograms.
you. Remember the histogram?
Yep.
Histograms are basically bar graphs, but more numerically inclined.
Was I taught this
You were
when I
taught-
took your class?
you were
I don't remember doing this.
this. Austin, do you remember any of this?
Kind of.
It's okay. Squirrel doesn't remember any of this? I'm not surprised, Squirrel. Yes, because you have a memory of a goldfish. I swear you do. You have the memory of a goldfish.
So do I. Remember when I literally lost a paper within like 5 seconds of you giving it to me?
Yes! Yes! And it came like a day after you're like, okay, I need copies of this, 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 and this. I'm like, you lost all those sheets? Yes, I lost all of them. Okay, give you all those sheets. And then you came to class, and then I gave you the homework, and I walked away, and you were like, wait, I need another copy of the I'm like, I literally just gave it to you. No! Look, boy, look for it! I'm not giving you another copy!
Izzo, do you remember one seawater?
One seawater?
One seawater.
What? Was that during my conversion?
Yes.
Yes, during my conversion unit.
You thought I was pretty good with algebra until that happened.
Oh yes. One seawater
One
equals
seawater
this many.
equals-
I'm like, okay.
I just remember raising my hand and being like, Izzo, what is one seawater? And you just look at me like, what are you talking about?
Okay. So then we look at the chart or the calculator. Girl, your tail. Move. Sorry. Okay, so then we look at the calculator or we look at the chart or whatever, and we figure out that the average is 5.8 kids, which is a lot of kids. Let me just say, that's 5.8 kids too many for me. Okay, so we got 5.8 kids, and that will then tell me approximately the average number of kids in families in Pennsylvania. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. And that will, of course, help with the building of schools, the funding of libraries,
Distribution of welfare checks.
welfare checks, toy and electronics stores, McDonald's restaurants, Dollar Generals. Yes, squirrel.
Oh
Those are
yes,
very important.
Dollar Generals.
Dollar Generals are always very important.
I mean, they put one like across the street from me, so
Oh, that's helpful.
I don't think population has anything to do with where they put those. I think they just sort of
Just put them
Like,
down.
They throw.
yeah. It's
dark-
like, did you ever play like any of the city building games like SimCity?
Ooh, yep. Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it's some omnipotent being just going Dollar General here, Dollar General here, Dollar General. Like they just appear.
I like it. I like it. Good plan. What else do kids need? I don't know. I try to avoid them. Daycare centers? That would probably be helpful.
Meh.
Maybe. All right. So that is organization and community activities like YMCAs, all of that kind of stuff. Those are important. Okay. So we go back to this. Yes. Remember this. The population. We want the parameter from the population. So we take a sample and then we do statistics to find an approximate guess. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we did families of kids in Pennsylvania, and we wanted the average number of kids, so we did a beautiful simple random sample that I took because, I just made it up. So I can tell you that it's perfectly accurate. I got 8.5 or 5.8 kids. 5.8 kids.
8.5.
No, that's way too many kids. Okay, 5.8 kids, that's the average number of kids, and so we can say that in this population, it's about 5.8 kids. Yes?
Yeah.
Is that
Average
5.8
cycle?
kids per parent, or is there literally in the whole population there's 5.8 kids?
The average number of kids
family.
per family.
Okay, because I was gonna say if there's 5.8 kids in the entire population, you got a problem.
Yeah, that's a big problem,
It's like
Especially that 0.8 kid.
right? What
That
kind of
might
kid
be a
is
little
that?
scary.
I'm very worried about that kind of kid. It's disturbing. Maybe it's a pregnant person, so it's almost a kid, but not really.
Okay.
Okay. But the big question is this bigger or smaller than last year? Because if we're going to build schools, 8.5 is a great number, but is this bigger than last year? Is this smaller than last year? I mean, was it 8.5 last year?
5.8.
What, 5.8 last year? Whatever.
8.5.
Detail.
It's made up anyways.
Detail. It's made up.
Yeah.
Squirrel says it's useless. All this is useless. Yes, statistics is useless.
True. I
Only
can't
this
agree.
is for squirrel. Yes, I love you too. Okay. So is this bigger or smaller than last year? But that means that we need the average number of kids and we need time, which is 2 variables. And as you remember, the title of this lesson is univariate. Univariate means 1 variable. So we talked a lot about 1 variable. Bivariate is next time. Yes, Squirrel, you can be part of next time too. Well, you just need to stay tuned. Can you stay tuned? Okay. She's obnoxious today.
You haven't had a commercial break yet. How are you making your money?
Yeah, really.
The end.
Whoa, what?
But
That's
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 the
a
end
free
of that
lesson.
7.